I was hired to organize a billionaire's closet. I found something unexpected that changed my life. Last year, my professional organizing business was barely breaking. Even I'd left a secure job in finance to pursue this passion and was seriously questioning that decision when my phone rang with a number I couldn't recognize. Is this the orderly space? The woman on the other end had the crisp, efficient tone of someone who manages other people's lives, she explained. She was the personal assistant to Marianne Westfield. Yes, get that, Marianne Westfield, the tech CEO worth billions. Ms. Westfield needed someone to reorganize her wardrobe area before a major house renovation. The job would take approximately 3 days. I nearly dropped my phone when she named the fee. 2 days later, I was buzzed through the gates of a stunning Hamptons estate and led to what was described as a wardrobe area, but was actually a 200 square foot wing larger than my entire apartment. Miss Westfield was in meetings all day but left strict instructions, the assistant explained. Everything must be categorized, photographed, and entered into the inventory app. Anything worn more than twice or older than 2 seasons goes to donation. I spent the day organizing clothes with price tags that could have paid my rent for months. The nice sheer handbags still in their dust bags, shoes that had never touched pavement. At around 7 p.m. I was working through a section of evening gowns when I heard the door open. "Don't mind me," said a soft voice. "I am just grabbing something." I turned to see Marianne Westfield herself as not the polished executive from magazine covers, but a barefoot woman in yoga pants with reading glasses perched on her head. "You must be Maya," she said, extending her hand. "Thank you for taking on this disaster." As we chatted, she pulled open what looked like a regular drawer but turned out to be a refrigerated storage unit containing rows of jewelry cases. "Yennery dinner," she explained, selecting a diamond necklace that made me nervous just looking at it. 20 years today. "Congratulations," I said. "That's quite an achievement." She laughed softly. "The marriage or the diamonds? Both, I guess." She glanced at my left hand. "Are you married, Maya?" I explained that I'd recently ended a long-term relationship to focus on my business. "Brave," she said, looking genuinely impressed. "Risk is terrifying." After she left, I continued working, eventually reaching a locked closet section that the assistant hadn't mentioned. I opened her for instructions. "That's the vintage section," came the reply. "Keys in a desk drawer. Those don't count toward the 2-season rule." Inside were clothes from the 80s and 90s brand, including the worn cardigan with elbow patches, faded jeans, and stuffed boots. At the back hung a lab coat with Westfield embroidered about the pocket next to a Stanford University ID badge showing a much younger Marianne. This didn't match the narrative of the privileged CEO born into wealth. I carefully photographed everything, including family photos tucked into the lab coat pocket. The next morning, Marianne appeared with coffee for both of us. "You found my museum," she said, nodding toward the vintage section. "Those are from when we were nobodies, working out of my parents' garage. That cardigan, I wore it for 3 winters straight because we couldn't afford heating and bath equipment." She told me how they'd lived on guano while developing their first product, how they'd been rejected by 47 investors, how she'd nearly given up a week before their bra crew. "Sometimes I open that closet just to remember," she said. "Everything else in here just stuff. That closet is who I actually am." Before leaving that evening, I gathered my courage and pitched her a business idea. I've been developing an app that helps small businesses track inventory and expenses, something I wished I'd had when starting out. A week later, I received a package. Inside was a one cardigan with a note. "For cold days when building your dream, the matching investment offer is in your email." STMW today, my app has seed funding to developers and our first beta clients. And on tough days, I wear a billionaire's cardigan hours, not because of what it's worth, but because of what it represents. Sometimes the most valuable things are